Hi guys, we are working today on making a Mexican street corn dip. Doesn't that sound amazing? I've got a couple of things started for us already, and I'm going to walk you through what I've already done, and then you're going to follow along with me as I make the rest of it. So all I have done so far, I'm going to move my screen over so you can see, is I have thrown some ears of corn just sprayed with some cooking spray. I've got a jalapeno on here, and I've got half of a red onion. And this is our electric grill and griddle. It's wonderful for doing these kinds of things in the house. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to grill these up, and I'm going to rotate them every now and then just so that they get charred on the outside, get cooked all the way through, and then we'll see them again in a little bit. So while my vegetables are on my wonderful grill over there, I'm going to be working over here to get my sauce prepared. So I'm using my stainless steel bowl. I absolutely love these bowls because they're pretty, but they also have a rubber bottom so they stay nice and sturdy on my surface that I'm cooking on, which is nice. Okay, so while my corn is cooking, I'm going to work on my sauce. So I've got my measure-all here, and I'm going to do a half and half of yogurt and mayonnaise. If you don't like to do the yogurt version, you could do sour cream or more mayonnaise depending on how you like things to be. But I really like this measuring cup for things like sour cream, mayonnaise, peanut butter sometimes, those things. It's great because I can measure out exactly what I need. Obviously we need that for our recipe, but then it makes it so easy to come out. So once I've got my half and half, a fourth a cup of Greek yogurt and a fourth of a cup of mayonnaise, all I'm going to do is turn it over on top of my bowl and just push it out. So now I'm going to use my scraper and just clean it right off, and I don't have to dig around. Imagine how great that would be for peanut butter. Things that are really sticky or goopy, no time flat, I've measured it and put it in my bowl. So that's wonderful. So I've just got those two mayonnaise and sour cream in there, or yogurt, I should say. Can you tell I normally cook with sour cream? And I'm going to add to that my chili powder. So I'm doing a half of a tablespoon of chili powder. And I've got my measuring spoon. I like my measuring spoon because it's adjustable. So it's one thing that I have to keep track of, and I can just adjust my measurements as I want it this way. Okay, so I'm adding a little chili powder to that. I'm also going to add some cloves of garlic. So I've got my garlic press going for this, and I love my garlic press because I absolutely love fresh garlic, but I don't love all the mess, and I don't love the smell on my fingers. So this is great because I am taking a whole piece, a whole garlic clove. I'm going to put it right in my press, paper and all, and I'm just going to close it, and I'm just going to press it right off into my bowl. Scrape that off. My recipe here calls for 2 garlic cloves, and I've got small ones, and I really like garlic, so I'm actually going to do 3 garlic cloves, but I just put 2 in there at a time, and it comes right out. The paper is left there, but it comes out super easily. Okay. Let's add a little bit more to my grill. We're not quite done. That was what the beeping was that you heard. Okay, so now I'm just going to stir up my chili powder and my garlic, my yogurt, and my mayonnaise. Hey, I said yogurt that time, not sour cream. I'm learning, right? And I love scrapers. If you have not used the scrapers, they are so versatile for mixing things like this, cake batters, brownie batters. But they also cook really well on this, or use really well on the stove, because they won't melt. They're silicone, and they stand up to that really well. So just give my corn a little turn off there to the side. Okay, so I've got my sauce. The next thing I'm going to need is some cheese, because any good dip needs cheese, right? So I've got my adjustable coarse grater. I like that it has this nice protective plate on the front because this is super duper sharp. So I'm going to use, get my cheese ready here. I'm going to use an entire block, 8 ounces of pepper jack cheese. and I'm going to use 3 ounces of Parmesan cheese. What I like about this is I used to use my shredded cheese from the grocery store all the time. It's convenient, it's easy to use, you just dump it in, and then you're done. And then I started learning a little bit more about what I was putting into my recipes. And they have an anti-caking agent in that shredded cheese that you buy at the store, and that just doesn't sit well with me. I'm sure it's fine, people aren't dying because they're eating shredded cheese, but I just try to be a little bit more mindful about what I'm putting into my family's bodies. And when you have a cheese grater like this that is so super duper sharp, this is Parmesan cheese, so this is a hard cheese. It is so easy for me to shred this, and I have no reason not to. So I'm just going to shred up some of this. I am not a super measurer, so I'm not measuring this out. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. And then I'm just going to kind of look at my recipe later and see if I want it to be cheesier or not. That's a silly question. Of course I'm going to want it to be cheesier. So yeah, so that's the benefit of having a cheese grater like this, is just to be able to put something fresher, you know, straight from this block of cheese with less preservatives into my recipe. Okay, so this again was an entire block of pepper jack cheese, 8 ounces. This does come with a little bit of, or another attachment that you can put so you don't have to use your fingers on the cheese. And then you can grate all the way down to this. But I don't do that because I like to eat this little piece when I'm done. So having that tool would deny me the chance. Look at all that beautiful cheese. It would deny me the chance to eat the rest of that. So see how quickly and easily this is grated through 11 ounces of cheese. So yes, I did not open the bag and just dump it in, but it's taken me a minute or two, not long at all. So if that's something you've never thought about, maybe that can be my influence today. It's a lot cheaper to buy your cheese in a block too. So look at all this, it's wonderful. If you've ever noticed, if you've been at a party and there's shredded cheese that's out, and if it's shredded like this, or the day of, then you'll see, you know, it starts to get clumpy and all that because it doesn't have any preservatives in it. But your shredded cheese from the bag stays crisp and separated, which sounds nice, but it also makes me wonder how and why. So that's my soapbox for you on my cheese. And I do love my cheese, so I am a little partial to how I make it. Okay, so I'm going to bring my cheese back here to my sauce. Remember, that was my mayonnaise and my sour cream. I love these flexible cutting mats that I'm using because did you see how I just curled it up and dumped it right in? It's amazing. Super easy to use. Move my cheese. I'm going to eat that later, I promise you. And I'm just going to mix this in to my sauce. Incorporate it together is all I'm doing here, so that my mayonnaise coats all the way through that cheese and that chili powder gets in there. Okay, so I've added that in there. I think I might want to do a little bit more Parmesan. I told you I would, right? Just because Parmesan melts so nice and it has such great flavor that adding a little extra is never a bad idea, I don't think. Maybe you disagree. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add, whoops, I still need that. I'm going to add some lime in here. So this is our citrus zester. Super easy. I'm just going to go right across it and just grind. Very similar to a cheese grater. I'm just going to grind some of that great lime flavor and oil into my bowl. Don't have to go super crazy with this. I like to do these little small strokes just so that I don't have giant chunks of lime in what I'm doing. Get my corn going. And so I get the flavor in there and then just less of the chunk. I just prefer that. Okay, so we're going to add some lime zest in there for that great lime flavor. Oh, this is going to be so good. Perfect for summertime parties. Okay. All right, mix some of that in there. That looks great. All right, and then I'm going to juice it because we want some of that lime juice as well. This is the 8-inch chef knife that I'm using. I absolutely love Pampered Chef knives. I have not always had them because they're a little pricey, but I will tell you that there's a lifetime guarantee on them. So when you're thinking about that investment, it comes with that guarantee that you'll always love it. Okay, so I'm just pressing the juice in here. This is our citrus press here. I love it because it's heavy and sturdy. It's metal. It's got some weight behind it, and it just works really well to just press that lime juice right on into our sauce and cheese mix that we have here. Okay. Oh, it's smelling amazing. I wish you could smell it. So good. Okay. So we're just going to mix that back in now that we've got the lime zest and the lime juice. So yummy. Okay. Looking good in there. Looking good in there. All right. So my vegetables are still over here on the grill charring. I will show you those when they're done. It's going to be so tasty. Okay. And then while I'm waiting for that to cook a little bit more, I'm going to work a little bit on my cilantro. We're going to use this towards the end when I've got my dip almost ready to serve. So this cilantro, luckily, I was just looking at the stems there. The end here is very leafy. So I don't mind just kind of chop it into it and getting there because this was just so leafy on the end. There wasn't a whole lot of stems. So if you are someone that's picky about your stems, if you don't want those in there, sometimes people pick them out. We also have this tool that's very handy for that. You see all the different holes there so that you can take your stem and whatever size herb you're working with. If you slide it over your stem, it picks the leaves off and then your stem just comes away. So that's a great tool if you work with fresh herbs frequently. Okay, so I think this is going to be plenty of cilantro for me. And again, the chef knife. This is the 8-inch. It's wonderful. So there's this little thumb guide right here that says PC, so I just put my thumb and my finger in that spot. I always thought you were supposed to hold a knife like this, but it really, like especially a big knife like this, it's kind of hard to control that way. So I put my thumb right on the PC dot, and I wrap my fingers around the other side, and then I can just rock my knife over whatever I'm chopping, in this case, cilantro. So I'm just crushing it and then kind of pushing it back into its spot and then doing it again over and over and over until we've got that nice and chopped up and ready to go. Okay, so that looks good. You get a little bowl to put it in. This is my prep bowl here. I love them. They are glass. They have measurements along the side that I really like. They also have lids, so if I have something that I have left over, like if I don't use all this cilantro, I could easily put it in there with a lid on it and save it for another use. Okay, all right, so we are all ready on our prep work over here. I'm going to take you back to this grill for just a minute so I can talk to you about that while it's cooking. So right now I have the grill grate on there. You can see the back one that I'm not using, so that this gets a nice charred, there we go, a nice charred cooking to the vegetables, okay? But there is also a flat plate, a griddle plate that you can use to do your pancakes, you know, if you want a flat surface for things. The lid does come down if you were doing it like a panini press. Sandwiches are really good on here, and I also have the attachment for the waffles, so you can make a waffle on there too. So it's a small space, it doesn't take up a whole lot of counter space, and it does a lot of great things. So our next step is going to be waiting for our vegetables to cook, so I will be back with you in a few minutes when they're cooked.